representative in any way. In fact, I would say that we have an oligarchy. We have a few people in government who decide everything for everyone. You've all seen it, where the president, the Senate Majority Leader, the Speaker of the House, they decide something in some back room. They work on it for weeks, sometimes months, and then they just drop it on everyone. And they say, this is the legislation. And then they tell you that this is what democracy is about. This is representative government, they tell you. And they want to save democracy. So I want to talk to you today about how do we actually take back the Senate for the people? How can we put people back in control of the system? So the first thing I want to do as a senator, and it's something I focused on a lot in the House, is ensure that we open the legislative process to all members. Everyone you elect should be a part of the process. We shouldn't have a system where all of you elect members of Congress, some in the House, some in the Senate, and they actually don't have any power to do anything. They just have to wait for their instructions from someone else. When I served in the House, to show you how bad it got, there was a 4-year period where not a single amendment was allowed to be offered on the House floor. Not one. So in over 200 years of this government, it was routinely the case that we could offer amendments as members of Congress. We could go to the House floor, and especially during appropriations season, when we're working on the spending bills, the process was supposed to be, that's how it was designed initially, a free and open process. If we're working on a spending bill, any member of Congress can come to the floor, they can offer an amendment, and that amendment gets a vote. It doesn't matter whether the leadership likes it or whether they don't like it. Gets a vote. Then, at some point, in the interest of, I guess, what they thought was saving conservatism, Paul Ryan decided he wasn't going to allow us to offer amendments anymore. He said, no, the Democrats are offering a lot of tough amendments. We don't want any of you to have to go on the record on these amendments. So instead, let's just shut down the whole amendment process. And I objected at the time, and I'll tell you that most Republicans in the room supported that. They applauded Paul Ryan for that. And I said this would be used against conservatives, would be used against others to stop us from actually representing the people. And our job when we're elected is to take those tough votes. We're there to take those tough votes. And we should have to take those tough votes. He shut it down. Nancy Pelosi then took the reins, and she went 2 years. In fact, she went 4 years. After I left Congress, she continued to do it, didn't allow amendments on the House floor. And now, many, many years later, I think there's only been one piece of legislation where they even allowed us to offer amendments on the House floor since Paul Ryan changed the rules way back. I mean, it's almost a decade ago now. So it shows you how broken the process is. We need to open it up. Every member should be allowed to participate and offer amendments and participate in the process to represent you. We have to end the extortion of members. So you may have heard this from some other people, but what's surprising is that the leadership, it's often surprising to people, require you to pay into the party in order to get committee assignments and in order to have your legislation brought to the floor and other things. You have to actually pay into the party. And they will actually bring you a bill, essentially. They'll bring it right to the floor and hand it to you and say, this is how much you owe the party. And for those of us who were lower down the totem pole, not in leadership, they might say, oh, you owe $200,000, $300,000. And for some of the people higher up, they might say, pay us $1 million, $2 million. Raise that money for the party. And if you don't do that, they don't put you on the committees you want. They don't bring the legislation you want to the floor. They try to sideline you. We have to end that system. Nobody should have to pay a bribe or do anything that looks like extortion to get legislation on the floor, to get a committee assignment, to be part of the political process. You elect people not so that they'll go and work for the party, but so they'll go work for you. We have to make the bills readable and accessible. And yes, that deserves applause. You've all seen these 1,000-page bills where they write up a bill in the back room. I mentioned this earlier. They write up a bill in the back room. It might be 1,000 pages. One time I think I was there and it was something like 5,000 pages. 5,000 pages. And I want you to understand that when a bill in Congress is 5,000 pages, that's not 5,000 pages. That's a lot longer than 5,000 pages because the bill is full of cross-references. So it says things like in this old act from 1976 on page 7, line 3, amend this. So something might be 5,000 pages, but it's actually referencing a whole bunch of other pages. We've had situations where there are thousands and thousands of pages, and they tell you you have a day to read it. A day to read it. One time, they told us we had half an hour. And they said, take it or leave it, half an hour. Now, some of you I'm sure have run businesses, been involved in business. Would any of you sign a contract, sign an agreement where the person on the other end of it says, hey, here's 5,000 pages, you can review it for half an hour? Nobody would do that. Yet with the federal government, which affects all of us, this is what they do in Congress. So we need to make sure the bills are readable. Can we make them single issue bills? Can we make them simple bills? And then related to that, of course, make sure they read the bills. Our members of Congress have to read the bills. My policy as a member of Congress is that I would not support any bill that I wasn't able to read. If they don't give you time to read it, you vote no. You don't support that legislation. If they think it's so important, they can bring it back up again later. But you don't support legislation that you haven't read. When I was in the House, Nancy Pelosi used to brag about how she would never bring anything to the floor unless she knew it was going to pass. And this is the absolute worst way to govern, in my opinion. The reason we have a legislative branch, the founders were wise about this, the reason we have a legislative branch is so that the people you elect can go, deliberate, debate, discuss, and discover the outcome that reflects the will of the people through that debate and discussion. That's why they send members of Congress there. The people send members of Congress there to discover the outcomes, not to be told the outcomes by someone at the top. So we need to make sure that we allow bills to fail. You put bills on the floor, you allow amendments, and if the amendments don't pass, or the bill doesn't pass, that's perfectly fine. That's the process. That's how we discover the outcomes that have a consensus. Now, they're not always going to be the outcomes that we all like, but it's much better than a few people in a back room deciding everything for everyone. We have to record the votes. Record the votes. I think many of you may know that a lot of times these votes aren't recorded. They just pass something by unanimous consent or a voice vote. In fact, you may remember the multi-trillion-dollar COVID bill. And my friend and colleague at the time, Thomas Massey, who's a real hero for us, And God bless him. He just had a loss in his family. And please pray for Thomas. He's here at this event. And we're praying for him and thinking about him. But Thomas Massey had the courage to go to the House floor and say, no, I'm demanding a recorded vote on this multi-trillion-dollar bill. And you know what they did? They just ignored him. The people in the chair, the leadership, they said, we're not even going to recognize your request. We need to make sure that we record the votes so everyone can see how we vote on everything. And then we need to, my last bit of advice, stop governing by emergency. We allow the president to do so many things under emergency authority. Do you know that there's always an active emergency? That the government is always operating under an active emergency? Constantly. All of these emergencies should be sunset. There should be no ongoing emergencies. That is not the system we have. We have a system of checks and balances, separation of powers. You cannot have a Congress just delegate to the president saying, oh, it's an emergency, and it's going to be an emergency for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And you just keep doing whatever you want. That is not representation. For those who want to save democracy, how about they start with that one? So, getting back to the subject of this, taking back the Senate, I think, as you can see, it's not just about having Republicans in there. I think Republicans are marginally better than Democrats on these issues, but marginally. Marginally. It's not enough just to have more Republicans. We need to have people who actually care about the process. And elections are an opportunity to do this. So when you go to vote for someone, you need to ask them not just how do they vote on the substantive issues, not just will you vote to cut spending, will you vote to end the forever war or stop all the surveillance, not just those issues. You need to ask them how they're going to be on the process. Are you just going to toe the line? Are you going to do whatever the leadership tells you to do? Are you going to vote yes on bills that you weren't given a chance to read? Are you going to vote for leaders who are violating the process, who are violating the ordinary rules of legislation? You can't pick the Senate Majority Leader. The Senate members pick the Senate Majority Leader. But you can pick the people who make up the Senate. So you need to make sure that when you do that, when you think about who to vote for, you ask them not just about the substantive issues, but where are you on process? Because if you can't have a system, if you don't have a system where process is respected, where the rules of the Senate are respected, the rules of the House are respected, and where the Constitution is respected. If you don't have that, then all of the substantive issues you care about, they're going to go by the wayside. You won't have a chance to actually debate those things. So I'll leave you with this. A lot of you hear this and you hear about the corruption and you might ask yourself, is it all worth saving? Is it worth saving? Are we just too far gone? And this will be my answer to you. I think it is worth saving. My parents came to this country as immigrants. And when I was a kid, I learned about the American dream and how amazing this country is and how fantastic our Constitution is. And I want to tell you, I've spent a lot of time studying constitutions around the world, laws around the world, the ways other countries govern themselves. Our Constitution is a miracle. It's a miracle. Now, it's not perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect system. But I'll tell you, it is a miracle. That the founders and the framers of the Constitution put this thing together is a true miracle. And if we lose this Constitution, if we lose this system, I don't think we'll ever get anything back that's even close to it. So I want you to go out there, stand up for the Constitution, stand up for the rule of law, stand up for a system that works for the people. Thank you so much.
See, I told you it was gonna be amazing. It's fun, you're gonna win. Just Amash for U.S. Senate, representing Michigan and freedom for all who adore it, and I know you do. Thank you so much for patiently waiting, filling up the room, and being voracious devourers of the messages of freedom and liberty. And I'm so excited to introduce and interview this next person, because not only is he a hip hop icon, but he also has been one of the stars on Law & Order SVU for years and years. He has also been a champion of free speech since at a time when it wasn't very cool at all. And you know, there were ways of canceling artists who pushed up against the establishment. He didn't care. He put his reputation and his career on the line. So let's hear it for the man that Arnold Palmer wanted to soak in lemonade. It's Ice-T. You pick a chair. You're Ice Mother Friggin' T. Sit wherever you want, sir. Welcome to FreedomFest.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I had no idea what FreedomFest was.
But you love freedom.
But I'm here.
Yeah, I'm stoked you're here.
I'm excited. I've met nothing but good people backstage.
Yeah, they're really excited to meet you.
Okay.
Yeah, we you know, I don't mean to be rude, but he's more of a panty dropper than Tom Jones. That speaks to his credentials.
Okay, now I understand this room.
Yeah. I saw you at the first Lollapalooza.
Yeah.
Tell me about that, because that was an incredible experience. So everyone knew you and hip, like, I am a nightmare walking, psychopath talking, king of the jungle, just a gangster stalking, living life like a firecracker. Who is confused? Dead at the colors that choose, red or blue because of blood. It just don't matter, suck or die for your life when the shotgun scatter. The gangs of LA will never die, just multiply colors.
That was impressive.
I wrote that.
You wrote that.
Yeah. So people knew you as Ice-T, the hip hop legend, but then you burst onto the scene with Body Count. So tell me about that evolution.
Yeah, well, what happened was Ernie C met Perry Farrell. And Perry Farrell was doing a video called The Gift, and he wanted someone to sing Nigger White, the Sly Stone song. And Ernie said, I will do it. So I met Perry Farrell. We sung the song, Don't Call Me Nigger Whitey, for his video. And then Perry said, I'm doing a festival called Lollapalooza. Would you?
So for those of you who don't know, Perry Farrell is the founding member of Jane's Addiction.
Yeah.
And he also created the Lollapalooza Festival, which used to travel all over the place. Now it's basically in two places, Chicago and I believe Brazil. But at the time, there was nothing like it. So he imagined what this life, this experience could be for music fans, and he wanted to expand the genres beyond rock or alternative.
Right. They wanted to do something that was like the European festivals, like the Leeds Festival, the Reading Festival, that had a, you know, we had a, back in the days, what was the big Woodstock? But we weren't familiar with having an eclectic festival. So on that festival was, it was Butthole Surfers,
Rollins Band, 9 Inch Nails.
Rollins Band's 9 Inch Nails, Susie and the Banshees, Living Color, Jane's Addiction, and he booked me as a rapper. And when he told me to do the rap, I said, well, how long do I have? He said, you have 60 minutes. So I decided to split my set, and I did half rap, and I debuted Body Count at Lollapalooza. No one knew it was coming. And I was a part at the end of the show where I said, after rapping, I said, I'm gonna prove to you that rock has nothing to do with color. It's a state of mind. And we transferred into BC and just blew everybody's.
Yeah, it was amazing. I've never seen anything like it. I didn't know it was coming. I was in the audience and it was like, there goes the neighborhood. I'm like, yay, let the neighborhood go. This is awesome. But I felt like that was like a really transcendent moment in music.
We just came off tour. I just came off tour last week, toured Europe. We played for over 1 million people. And Body Count has a new album coming out called Merciless. So we're still going 30 years later.
I just saw the Foo Fighters in London, and they played for 80,000 fans, and Taylor Swift was playing the same night for 88,000 fans. But it gave me such hope that rock and roll music is still very much alive.
Europeans and the British, they respect live music a lot more than us. And when we go across the pond, so to speak, they really show out. So that's why you see a lot of American bands spending a lot of times overseas, because you get those huge audiences. Here, you know, you got a couple of, what's the one they have? Coachella.
Yeah, Coachella is
kind of like
the desert.
Instagram.
That's all they do. It's like Instagram influencers that go and wear like tie-dye bikinis. And
Yeah, that's not that cool.
it was great for a few years. Like it's in the desert, which is always weird.
Yeah.
Grover Norquist, who spoke here, he loves Burning Man.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe
Burning Man seems more raw. Burning Man seems more raw. Coachella, I just said that. This is Ice-T. I would never get invited to Coachella. Well, it sucks anyway, so I don't care.
I saw Ice Cube in 1993 backstage at the MTV Movie Awards, and I was so excited. I said, Ice-T! And he looked at me and he gave me a look. Are you guys friends?
Yeah, I got a rhyme. I say every day on the street, somebody calls me Cube. I tell them that's my homeboy, but it's Ice-T, dude.
Does he have one back?
I don't know, but we get called, you know, fortunately, we're both friends. Yeah.
So tell me about hooking up with Jello Biafra. So Jello Biafra, for those of you who might know or might not know, the lead singer of the Dead Kennedys, which was like Holiday in Cambodia, like really great East Bay punk rock. And so Jello Biafra is one of those people, along with Frank Zappa and Twisted Sister Guy, who were really pushing back against the Parents Music Resource Center. And that was Tipper Gore, whose husband Albert, was a senator at the time. You know, was part of this group of fussy ladies who were like, we're kind of bored. We want to make sure that we label all the music and the government labels all this smut. And then you and Jello went on TV and you put Tipper in a cultural headlock. How did that come to be?
Well, people that are speaking freely will find each other. So, you know, I was doing body count and Jello Biafra became a fan. And so we became allies. Like, he was telling me what was going on with Alternative Tentacles Records up in Frisco, and Butler Surface was on that label too. And so I just love Jello Biafra because Jello just knows so much crazy information about the most obscure things. So we went on Oprah together, I think, and I think Tipper Gore was on there. It's back when Oprah had like a talk show. Or it was either Donahue or Oprah, and we just aired her out. You know, like, you know, you're right. It was like a side gig for her, something to do while her husband was trying to run for president. But the funniest thing is when Al actually did go into running for president, vice president, you never heard from her again. Someone put a gag order on her, said, look, we're trying to get the young vote and you're fucking this up. So you have to go away. So no one has ever heard from Tipper since then.
That's so true. There was nothing more uncool.
Did they kill her?
No, she's very much.
She's alive?
They got a divorce, and she had a glow up.
She's on the Home Shopping now.
Yeah, so she got like super sexy and.
Oh Lord.
So,
no, I don't even want to think about Tipper.
She got a BBL. She looks good.
No, but
I don't know if that's true, but you know, if it is, I high five her. I think that everyone deserves a little redemption.
I don't dislike Tipper Gore. I don't dislike anybody that I have a disagreement with. You know, as far as clashing opinions. We both have opinions. We're all humans, so we can disagree. I didn't dislike her like that. I just was thinking that she needed to concentrate on something more important than music.
Yeah, like bacon brownies.
Something like
Calm down, lady. But it was, I was fortunate enough to get to know Frank Zappa before he passed. He passed away in 1993. And, you know, it's like he had funny, goofy, dirty songs, and they wanted to label his music. And, you know, he became also like a champion of liberty, defending something that he loved and defending the pure, raw, creative process. Was there ever a time where you felt like you had to edit yourself, or where you felt like things had gone too far and they were going to put the kibosh on you, like Two Live Crew?
Well, I was before Two Live Crew. They came after me. I had the president of the United States come after me.
Oh, I remember that. George H.W. Bush and J. Danforth Quayle III.
Yeah. it was Quail. He was on. We were at my house one day, and they were playing Techno Bowl to date it back in the day, and all of a sudden Quail came on, and he was yelling, and my boys were like, "Yo, Ice, the president is talking shit about Ice right now." So then all of us got in front of the TV, and we were all like, "Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit." No one in this room will probably have the honor of having the president say their name in anger. That's big time shit, you know? So what happens is after they do that, once they go after you, they figure you're a problem, all the different agencies do deep background checks on you, and you feel it. Because the next question the president can have is, what do you know about Ice-T? They can't just say he's a rapper. They gotta say his shoe size is this, his blood type is this. So it's crazy. You have like ice cream trucks parked in front of your house in the middle of the winter, shit like that. So they were trying to find out if I was really some type of person who was trying to start a coup in the United States.
Some subversive commie.
Just making records, you know? Yeah. So it was a trip at the time, but you know, I know what the heat feels like. I got tax audited 3 times in 2 years. So they put the pressure on you, try to find a crack. But my thing has always just been, I just been blatantly honest to how I felt, and I was never afraid to say it.
Good for you.
So.
I mean, you see what happened to people during COVID, and we've been discussing it the last few years here, how, people were trying to express opinions on social media, and if they ran contrary to the official line, they were canceled.
Well, you could be uncancelable. Like, I think I'm uncancelable. I don't really know how to, I don't think they can fuck with me at this point. What they do is they find an angle for that bothers you. And then if they can't find that angle, they leave you alone. So, it's like when they used to say, well, do your kids listen to this records? I'm like, well, when they're not doing drive-bys or selling crack.
They're multitaskers.
And then they just leave you the fuck alone because they find out you're one of those don't give a fuck people. And they're really trying to figure a way like, okay, well, Ice, you wrote Cop Killer, so now you're a cop. And I'm like, well, I was acting in both. I never really killed cops on the record either, you dumb fucks. Like, this is art. So they just say, leave him alone. Like, let Ice live, he'll die soon.
Like, oh, gotcha. We know what you're doing now, we know what you did then.
Yeah, why waste time? It's taking me out, it's not gonna change anything. It's just, like, I'm not a politician. I just stand on a soapbox and say what I think. And I like it like that.
Well, you don't even have to make sense now if you want to be a politician. That's what's so exciting about this chaotic time. Like, you can talk to dead people, you can mislabel things, you can call, the president of Ukraine, Vladimir Putin, and, people will, by and large, high-five you. You could run for president now and probably win.
No, I tell people, people say you should get in politics. I say I got out of crime. I believe if God had wanted us to vote, he would have given us candidates. And I don't think that anybody that in their right mind would want to be president now. I don't think you can win. I think, I don't know. I'm not a Republican or Democrat. I think Trump's a super con artist. I'm a criminal. I know one when I see one. And Biden could sneeze and die.
Yeah, it's true. There's who speculate you might actually already be dead.
Kind of like fucked, I wish The Rock or somebody would run, somebody that, could do a push-up.
Well, The Rock, they floated him as a potential candidate for a while. So what do you think about people like Oprah Winfrey or The Rock or, people who come from an entertainment background? Are they the only ones who can kind of bring the world together?
I don't know. I don't even think the presidency is really a valid position anymore. I think that, it's run by Congress, Senate, all this other stuff. I think it's almost like the person that they pick in the future as president will be someone popular, and it's like a PR person, kind of like the Queen or somebody that represents the United States, but they have no power because they don't have any power right now. So, yeah, but that's just me. I'm just a rapper. I don't know shit. I just know that I know we're fucked. I know that.
We're certainly divided. So I was talking to Charlemagne the God recently. I don't know if you're a fan of his,
I agree with a lot of shit he said.
He talked a lot about politics, and there's one thing I do agree with him on, and that is we have to stop dividing ourselves based on our teams, because that's not doing us any good. And this two-party system, to me, feels very broken, and we have to get back to the issues.
I got a rap from my new album based on about that. Would you like to hear it?
Very much so.
It's called Fuck What You Heard. It goes like this. Let me talk about the blue and the red. Half the dirty motherfuckers should be locked in the feds. They make laws and break laws, they ain't no thing. Well, half my homies stuck or fucking locked in the bank, kick it. These gangsters are cold, hard, and wicked. They control our lives. They live off lies. They look us in the face, don't even wear a disguise. Cross the gang, motherfucker, you die. It's the Democrats, the blood publicans. It's the Democrats, the blood publicans. Now let me break it down. They make us pay them. They call it a tax. On the street, it's called extortion or jack. I've seen white people crying government tears. Black people have been crying for years. Fox News is on some straight blood shit. CNN is most definitely crip. This shit is very far from done. Yo, motherfucker, what sets you from? It's the Democrats, the blood publicans. Fuck what you heard, both wings on the same bird. Then I say, at the last verse, it says, I don't give a fuck what set you claim, left wing or right, yo, it's all the same. You're racist or you're not, and you ain't fucking honest just because you claim cop. Divide and conquer is the key to the game. Keep us fighting each other while they rob the train. It's gang banging, the red and the blue. The question is, which gang are you? And the reason I break it into gang banging, not that Democrats happen to wear blue and Republicans happen to wear red, is that to pick a party, you have to ride with them like a gang. So if I'm a Democrat, I gotta go along with everything the Democrats say, or I'm not in the gang. If you're a Republican, you gotta rock with every fucking thing they say. And how many of us actually rock with everything the gang stands by? But you have to be in this gang. So it's gang mentality, and that's got us fucked up. It's because you can't be partial to one or the other. You have to just rock with what the gang preaches. And I'm from South Central, I understand gang mentality. So that's what it is.
It also, it feels like trench warfare. It feels like both sides are completely dug in and we're at an impasse. So I'm a big fan of a multi-party system, not necessarily three parties, because I don't think there's any one party who can come in and challenge Republicans and Democrats. Do you believe in a multi-party system or
it's
three?
It's possible, but it's like you say, it's entrenched.
Yes.
It's entrenched. How long have we had this two-party system? How long?
Since 1899.
1899, so a couple, 300 years. 200, how many years is that? 1899, that's 200 years. So it might take 200 years to get out of it. I don't know. Why ask me some rap shit?
Who's your favorite contemporary rapper?
I don't like picking side. I'm a Kendrick Lamar fan.
I'm Kendrick Lamar.
He won a Pulitzer Prize. But you know, I don't know. I mean, you guys, this is a freedom fest, so everybody's thinking freely. I think the future would be a master computer that will make all decisions. That's how we'll judge. Like everybody will have their own way that we can vote from home, and that's my daughter's life. And the computer will say this is law, this is change. Like then that computer can be hacked, but then humans can be hacked. So
we get Neuralink chips.
We're fucked. Has anybody ever seen a movie about the future where it was happy?
I mean, the Truman Show ends pretty well because he gets out of it, but I do feel like we're in a computer simulation. I feel like, it's like I thought about this moment when I was a freshman in high school, and here we are.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make it from Dunkin' Donut to Dunkin' Donut. You know what I'm saying? It's like I've figured it out, and I just all great philosophers go insane. So I stopped trying to think.
That's a good way to live. What? It's actually not a bad way to go. So tell me about your time in the Army.
Yeah. I did 4 years in 25th ID. I went in got my daughter. I was gonna have a daughter, and I decided to try to do something right. And I ended up at 25th Infantry, Schofield Barracks. Yeah, I never went downrange. I never went to war, so I just trained.
How did it inform how you felt about the paramilitary establishment?
It's dangerous as fuck, like as far as being in the army, you're gonna go fight. I don't know. I mean, I went in, I did like half in, half out. I was pretty much hardcore going for it. I don't even know. I went in it as a way to try to get out of trouble, but I remember one time I had this.
Did it work?
Yeah, it did, but I had this moment in my life. I had a sergeant who was a ranger. He stood in my face and told me, my last name's Marrow, M-A-R-R-O-W. He said, "You're here because you can't make it in civilian life." I'm like, wow, that's fucked up, And I had to go back to the barracks and really think it out. Like, so you're telling me being in the army is a loser? And that's when I decided I wanted to get out. I said, that's a fucked up way of telling somebody something. But I mean, I respect people in the military. I respect everybody who served. I mean, the ultimate commodity is violence. The ultimate commodity is violence. And that's where all money is spent on violence. And the people that can send the most violence are the most powerful. The only reason some of y'all probably wouldn't fuck with me is because you thought I could get you. You think there's violent part to me. You think there's something about me that puts you off. But if you really break it down, everything is based on violence, and the more violent person has the most power. That's why we can't go get Putin, because he's surrounded by his own violence. And America is based, everything is based around violence. I watch Game of Thrones, that's just all based around violence. So we live in a violent world, and the person with the most violence is in charge.
What about the people who want to protect themselves from violence? Do they have the right to do that? I mean, because there are people there's an argument that you're absolutely right. The people who have the most guns have the power.
Police.
But that's why the Second Amendment is great, because we get to protect ourselves. So the power is spread out.
Not from them. See, if this is your watch and I took it from you, the only way you could get it back is either you could force me to give it back, or you would call some tougher guys and they would take it back from me. How would they? They'd have to outpower me, right? If they couldn't outpower me, they'd have to call the cops. There's a bigger gang with better guns. But then if I can outpower them, then they have to call the National Guard. So whoever has the most violence eventually will win.
Well, I'm a white woman, so I'd probably call the manager.
But I mean, it's unfortunate that this is the world we live in, but it's been like that since the beginning of time.
Yes, that is part of human nature. You're absolutely right.
All our money we spend, all the taxes I spend on is for the army and for national defense. It's like America is powerful because we're the most violent.
But you have a lot of people in the audience who are very pro-peace. And they're very pro-capitalist.
We're collateral damage, though. The thing of it is that right now they could be talking shit and the bombs could be in the fucking air. We're all here talking about peace. We're not even we don't have our thumb on the button. We're just going for the ride. We're not in charge of this shit. So we just have to sit here and hope these motherfuckers don't blow this shit up. Right now, we don't know. No one's watching their phone. They could be going down right now. We could be at DEFCON 3, 4, 5, 1.
Well, you stole my watch, and I got news updates on my watch, so now I have no idea.
I think most people want peace. Most people are peaceful. Most people don't want conflict. But those are people that are just nice, happy people. The people that want power are different. And they get power through aggression. And it's just basically why you can't go to one of those casinos and take the money, because they're gonna come get you. They're not gonna say, please give the money back. They're gonna come and get you. So, that's why they have security walking around. I'm backstage. They got a guy with a gun walking around with me. Like, why? Because they're afraid of violence.
Do you have stalkers?
They're scared of me.
Okay, so how big of a role do you think AI is going to play in our lives in the next 20 years?
AI?
Yeah.
It's about to take this whole thing over.
Does that excite you? Like, I see a little smile on your face about that.
I'll be dead. I'm 66.
You're not going to be dead.
I'll be dead. I don't think you can stop AI. I don't think we can stop the evolution of technology. It's just gonna come and start eating and consuming us. There'll be some people that'll survive, but we won't last. No, AI is gonna eat us all.
That's such an optimistic vision of the future. Ice-T, I feel really good about things right now.
I told you, you think too much. If you think too much, you're gonna go crazy because it always ends up bad.
That's why people smoke so much weed now.
Yeah, I don't get high. I don't drink. I don't get high. People refer people to tell them positive things and stuff. I just don't see it as being real. You know, I kind of live in a special bubble with people I love and people that are around me that want to be positive. Like if you're a negative person, I eliminate you from my world. But I understand that outside of my bubble, it's a lot of people that are very bad.
If you created the perfect woman with AI, would it be Coco?
Yes. I've been married 25 years. Coco's perfect.
She's perfect. She's lovely. She's an aspiration. Who's the bigger catch, you or Coco?
Me, because I'm rich.
Would she agree with that statement?
I mean, she got a great mother. Her mother is the best. Coco's mother is like, girl, ice catch. You won. Everything is here. Ice takes care of you. We have a great life. Life is perfect. It's nice and sweet. Her mother is like a Rumba. Like when her mother lives with us, you know, this little Rumba machine. Like when we go to sleep, she comes out, she cleans the house. And then when we come out, she dips back into her little bedroom. Her mother could live with us. I love her mother. Because her mother understands the bigger picture. Like, yo, you got it good, girl. Stay right where you're at. So, you know, we got a wonderful daughter, and I'm very happy in my little bubble. I got my little bubble.
Is that the goal in life? Is to be successful enough that you craft your own bubble?
When I was younger, I thought I could save the world, but then I learned they wouldn't listen. So now it's more about surviving with my family and people around me. I have a lot of people that are real close to me that understand my theories and want to have happiness, because I think you should only take advice from people you admire. So a lot of people admire my get down and where I've been, and they listen, and that's cool.
When did you know you could act?
Stand in front of a judge.
What happened?
Shit, all acting is lying convincing. That's all it is. It's, you know, I'm not no fucking police, you know what I'm saying? But I convince y'all, like, people really think I'm the cops now. You know, they think I can save them or something, but I'm just acting like one because I've had a lot of experience with them.
Do you ever talk to people like Ellen Pompeo, who has been on Grey's Anatomy for, I don't know, 20 years? And do you talk about what it's like to be on a long-term show like that? Because, you know, all an actor ever wants is to get cast on a show, and for the show to be piloted and then to be picked up, and then for that show to be a hit. Like, that's the greatest thing in the world. But, you know, for a show to go on for years and years and years.
To an extent, a lot of actors don't want to play one role forever. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I was fortunate. I'd done quite a few movies, and I had kind of got that out. I did Johnny Mnemonic. I did Surviving the Game in Jack City. So I was ready to do television, but a lot of television actors, they want to do other roles. They don't. Mariska's been playing the same role for 25 years.
She's a hot pot of coffee.
Yeah, she's a wonderful woman too. And she who knows, she might want to act, she might want to do movies. So there is a thing about being in a successful show, but it's also an actor wants to act out different characters. That's part of being an actor. So, I mean, I'm happy to be there. I mean, we were the longest running show when we hit 21. Now we're on the 26th season, which makes me and Mariska the longest running actors in continuous rolling history.
Is it? That's amazing. I mean, that truly is. And, you know,
playing the police. That's some acting. That's acting.
Have you ever played cop killer when you go to the makeup room?
Everybody knows about the song and what it is. You know, it's a carried on joke, you know. But, you know, even when that song was meant, that record is a protest record against police brutality. And after 25 years, finally with camera phones, people saw what I was saying about. And, you know, it's about a guy who snapped and went after them. It's not a real character, it's fantasy. But it's art. And, you know, it is what it is. I don't want to kill no police, you know what I'm saying? But this particular guy, he lost it.
What do you consider yourself? Do you consider yourself to be a writer, a poet, an actor?
Artist.
Yeah.
I think